Although, those weren't the only people who talked about Haydox's video, as over the years, some of the biggest content creators in the Skylanders community had come across his video, and had made their own videos critiquing and talking about Haydox's video, with those being the now retired CrashTheSkylands, and one of the biggest Skylanders content creators, SkylanderGamerTV. Although, ironically enough, both videos are also not perfect, and they make fairly bad arguments that are very easy to take apart. Starting with CrashTheSkylands, my main problem is that the video is in the reaction format. It's just his face in the corner of the screen while Haydox's video is played in full, with Crash occasionally pausing the video to respond to what Haydox said. The issue being that Crash's responses are not very good, as the arguments he makes are made on the spot, and it's pretty obvious that he didn't watch the video beforehand. For example, when Haydox critiques Skylanders for having annual releases, Crash argues that Haydox would make this argument for Skylanders, but would easily play Call of Duty, a series that also has annual releases.
So, he's saying that, but like, he's probably one of those people who plays like Call of Duty every year. Call of Duty comes out every single year. Okay, we'll continue.
Only for Haydox to make the same argument towards Call of Duty.
A lot of the time, annual releases like Call of Duty, for example, are half-assed and made to just capitalize on the success of its predecessors.
Okay, I take back what I said. I fully take back what I just said there then, because I said, I'm like, I don't know, maybe he plays Call of Duty.
Now, you could just play this off as a silly one-time thing, but bear in mind, in Crash's own words, he deemed Haydox's video as serious.
Today, however, I'm going to be reacting to something very serious.
If this is such a serious video, Crash should have at least watched the video beforehand and have some notes ready when he records the video. Making a video the way Crash did, aka just watching the video and having responses made off the top of your head, is just not a good idea. Mainly because the arguments he makes are very rambly, and are also pretty bad. Like how Crash critiques Haydox for critiquing Skylanders, but not other Toys to Life series.
Of course, Activision knows that this is something that is going well for them, and they're going to continue it, yes. But nobody was saying anything about Disney Infinity, or LEGO Dimensions, or Amiibos.
Well, Crash, the video is called Why Skylanders is Terrible. If the video was about Toys to Life games in general, and Haydox only critiques Skylanders, I think you'd have a point, but his video is about Skylanders. Why would he mention or criticize a different franchise? Even then, Skylanders is the one that popularized the Toys to Life genre, so I think it's fair for Haydox to dislike it, since it's the one that brought it into the mainstream. Later on, Crash calls Haydox a hypocrite for previously collecting Amiibo, another Toys to Life series.
Wow, congratulations. You just admitted that you collected the toys and you love them, but then you just don't collect them anymore? That's kind of hypocritical right there.
But if Crash didn't pause the video, Haydox explains that he primarily bought Amiibo because they're figurines of nostalgic characters, and rarely was it for its in-game functionality.
I only really invested in Amiibo because Nintendo successfully tugged at my nostalgia for their classic characters. There were times I purchased Amiibo for their in-game effects, but those cases were few and far between. As much as I like them, I'll admit they add nothing substantial to one's gaming experience.
And even then, remember, Crash said that he's a hypocrite since he already bought and liked them. Which, sure, but is he just not allowed to improve or change his opinions on something? Especially since Haydox says that he doesn't even collect Amiibo anymore.
You should know that I stopped collecting them some time ago.
To be clear though, some of Crash's points are good, and are similar to the points that we've already discussed here. But there's one more thing I want to point out.
I can tell you that, yes, he does have a lot of good points. I paused the video and talked about those points and all that.
Really? Because you didn't point them out very well? Most of this video was just Crash arguing with Haydox. In general, CrashTheSkylands video wasn't very good. Like I said, if he was just a bit more prepared for the video, he could have made a good argument. But in a moment where Crash had to hit or miss, I mean, he sorta hit, but like, not really. Now for SkylanderGamerTV, I should clarify before going in, his video was intended to be a parody of the channel CinemaSins, a channel that overanalyzes movies. It's pretty much nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking. So for the sake of brevity, we're gonna have to compile a bunch of his points together. First, SkylanderGamerTV tries calling Haydox a hypocrite, and even biased towards Amiibo and Disney Infinity.
You still collected them, so what's the point?
I only really invested in Amiibo because Nintendo successfully tugged at my nostalgia for their classic characters.
Dude, you keep contradicting yourself in the video. You just said that you're willing to buy Toys to Life Amiibo characters, even though you just said you hated the idea of it. It's a complete juxtaposition of what you just said. Add 2 cents for this. You're being a hypocrite by bashing Skylanders yet openly saying you bought Amiibos for the in-game effects. If you hate Skylanders as a whole, then why don't you hate Amiibo or Disney Infinity? I think if this is a grade A example of bias, add 5 cents.
First off, addressing Disney Infinity, I'm confused on why this is being brought up. Haydox never said that he liked Disney Infinity. And again, this is a video about Skylanders. Why exactly should he bring up a different video game series in his video about Skylanders? As for Amiibo, I just don't think this argument works very well with these. Like I've said, considering that Haydox bought Amiibo for being figurines of nostalgic characters, and not for their in-game functionality, and Haydox's point is that getting kids to spend money on multiple figurines for a video game, since a lot of the content is locked behind these toys, is not good, and that he didn't like this business practice. In Skylanders, the figures are required to play, especially to 100% the game. Amiibo, on the other hand, most of the time are not required. And even when they were needed to play the game, this was something that Haydox didn't like and was very vocal about, as he did so in his video about Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
This brings up another huge flaw with the game. The whole pay-to-play scenario that you know I'm not too fond of. Why can't I play this game without the cards? Why do I have to go out and spend $6 on a pack of Amiibo cards that aren't really appealing to me? In all honesty, I really wish this was a standard board game without the Amiibo functionality shoehorned in. I get why it had to be done. Amiibo are selling like stocks after World War II. But when I can't play a certain mode in a party game that already lacks content because I don't have the necessary Amiibo, for lack of a better term, it sucks.
This is an instance of SkylanderGamerTV not doing his proper research, which is a consistent criticism that he's gotten for years. And there's another instance of this in the early half of the video, as SkylanderGamerTV argues that Haydox wouldn't be upset if someone like Spyro had gotten annual releases.
That's a Skylanders game every single year. Now that in and of itself is a problem.
I really think that you would not be that mad if Crash or Spyro got games every single year.
But if SkylanderGamerTV actually did put in the research, he'll know that Spyro technically did have annual releases, and that Haydox did have a problem with this.
I noticed that every year, from 1998 until 2008, a new Spyro game was released, whether that be a handheld or console game. So that's 10 years of non-stop game releases. Unlike the Call of Duty series though, the Spyro games got progressively worse. See, too many Spyro games were being produced in too short of a time. The publisher went with quantity over quality, something that can immediately ruin a franchise. And in a day and age without patches and dozens of fanboys defending a broken mess, this was extremely detrimental for Spyro.
Then there's all the points that are just painfully bad.
For someone who's invested in Skylanders as a game series,
If Skylanders sucks so bad, then why have you invested into the series itself?
So if Haydox did invest his money into Skylanders, then SkylanderGamerTV complains. But you know for a fact if he didn't say this at all, then SkylanderGamerTV will complain about Haydox not giving Skylanders a fair chance. You can see why that's not exactly fair.
a dead horse for a selfish corporation to beat money out of until it decomposes.
That just sounds like every gaming company in existence. Why do you just go after Activision and Skylanders? I mean, I think that EA is way worse.
Buddy, Haydox never said that they weren't. SkylanderGamerTV was the one who brought up EA into the discussion. In fact, Haydox himself would actually agree with him.
They are the award-winning worst company in America and worst gaming company in the world pretty frequently, so I'm not here to crown them again with the title, no matter how much they deserve that prestigious award. I'm here to talk to you today about why EA has gotten such a bad reputation and why they do not deserve it. Just kidding, fuck EA.
If it hasn't been obvious, SkylanderGamerTV wasn't being very fair towards Haydox. If you watch his video, you'll notice that whenever he actually agrees or is being fair towards Haydox, it's always, you know, you're right. But
I actually agree with this a lot because Toys for Bob was recently just moved over to work for Call of Duty, showing that Activision really just wants to make a Call of Duty game every single year no matter what, so I'm gonna have to remove 1 cent. But I'm gonna have to put that sin right back, because even though you mentioned this about Call of Duty, you have yet to make one video saying why Call of Duty sucks, so why are you just calling Skylanders out when other game series also make annual releases every year?
For this video, I put myself through the torture of playing all 5 Skylanders installments for at least 3 hours to get a taste of each game.
You know what, I'm actually gonna have to give you credit for this. Most people do not do this, remove 1 cent. But I'm gonna put that sin right back, since this entire video bashed Skylanders without actually playing the games.
Giants is simply not enjoyable.
I would disagree, since the gameplay is more refined and the story is better overall, but that's just my opinion, but I'm still gonna send you because you said stuff about Skylanders Giants without actually playing the game.
Look, to clarify again, I get that the video is supposed to be overly negative for the sake of being overly negative, but the problem with that is that now it's difficult to tell what is actual criticism versus what isn't. Overall, SkylanderGamerTV's video, while yes it is better than CrashTheSkylands video, and also has some valid points that we've already gone over, there are still many flaws that maybe could have been played off as a joke, but it still doesn't make it good. To say the least, both sides of the argument were not perfect.